There's a specific kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It hums. It watches the room the way lightning watches the horizon, charged, holding back. You felt it with them. The long gaze that didn't blur. The almost text they never sent. The sense that something real flickered between you, and then, without insult or farewell, they stepped backward into quiet. Not rejection, not indifference. Absence with a pulse. Carl Jung would say, pay attention when the ordinary refuses to explain itself. The psyche is not a single voice, it is a parliament. Some parts vote yes, some parts stall the motion, some parts pull the fire alarm. Desire arrives, ancient and unmistakable, and the system doesn't become simpler, it becomes louder. If you have ever been wanted by someone who could not take a single step toward you, you have witnessed a referendum inside a soul. The ballot reads, reach for life, or protect the mask that has kept me safe. This hour isn't about blame, it is about sight. We will keep roughly the backbone of the classic Jungian explanation you may already sense intuitively. The shadow makes intimacy feel dangerous. The persona prefers image over truth. The anima animus constellates projection that feels like destiny and tastes like fear. Complexes hijack perception. Synchronicity arranges timing that refuses to obey our texts. And individuation, the long work of becoming whole, decides whether love is a threshold or a cliff. But we'll also deepen the map. We'll invite 3 companions to walk beside Jung. Neuroscience, to show how the autonomic nervous system reads love as either safety or threat before thought ever arrives. Contemplative practice, mindfulness/Zen/Christian and Sufi contemplations, to give you rituals that stabilize the inner weather when timing hurts. Stoicism and Tao, to teach you how to carry desire with dignity, choosing character over chasing control. First, the cinematic frame. Imagine a corridor lit by dusk. 2 doors. On one hangs a placard, Persona, the practiced self, immaculate and competent, the story they tell the world to avoid punishment and win approval. On the other door, Self, unruly, honest, longing, alive. You walk down the hall and, in simply being you, you put a slight pressure on the self's handle. The door breathes. The persona hears the hinge and panics. Not now, not safe, not with them, not yet. The body tightens, the mind writes scripts. Wrong timing, too intense, they'll change their mind. The phone is set down. The message is unsent. Silence substitutes for sovereignty. Jung named the frightened gatekeeper inside everyone. The shadow. Not only the bad, but everything disowned to survive. Need, grief, tenderness, hunger for union. When your presence wakes those exiled citizens, the shadow rings the alarm. Stand down, close the blinds. The paradox is brutal. The more a connection could heal, the more it threatens the structures that allowed life without healing. So they don't reject you, they protect the past. Biology nods. Beneath language, the nervous system is running a threat assessment protocol every second. Facial micromovements, tone, pace, pauses, proximity. For a system trained by earlier hurt, the sensation of being deeply seen can register as danger, not gift. Your gaze is read as exposure, your steadiness as an invitation to collapse, your warmth as the beginning of dependency. Fight/flight/freeze/fawn don't care about philosophy. They care about survival. The body chooses distance and hires the mind to write the press release. Busy, not looking, maybe later. Add archetype to anatomy and the plot thickens. Before integration, we often meet the anima animus, our inner opposite, in the face of another person. Men project the anima feeling, relatedness, mystery onto a woman and feel summoned, then terrified. Women project the animus, clarity, structure, generative will, onto a man and feel both seen and destabilized. Recognition is not readiness. Projection is a first bridge, not a home. If they are unready, they preserve the fantasy by staying far enough away that reality cannot contradict it. Silence protects the ideal. Then come the complexes, emotional knots tied in childhood that pull today's strings. You remind them, unfairly, of the parent who left, the lover who lied, the teacher who humiliated. Even if you are the opposite, the body reacts to memory, not you. This is why your flawless behavior cannot fix their disappearance. The courtroom is inside them. You are only the accused symbol. None of this is an indictment. It is a diagnosis of timing. Jung's idea of synchronicity is often romanticized as cosmic green lights. Just as often, it is a holy yellow, a meaningful pause that says, transformation is brewing, force nothing. The soul's clock refuses ego's calendar. A connection can be real and unready at the same time. That tension is excruciating, unless you learn how to carry it. So here is the promise of this video. We will not chase anyone down a corridor they are not ready to walk. We will learn to read the map, so you stop making their silence a referendum on your worth. We will keep approximately 70% of the classic Jungian logic that makes sense of their retreat, and we will add approximately 30% new muscle. Somatic tools to regulate your system when you're tempted to beg for clarity. Myth to dignify the ache. Practice to turn waiting into growth. Stoic posture so you keep your crown on your own head. We will turn, why don't they reach out, into, how do I meet myself at the deepest level this connection revealed? 3 ground rules as we begin. 1. No villain monologues. The other person is not your project or your enemy. They are a soul learning to re-enter their own house without setting off alarms. 2. No self-erasure. Understanding psychology is not permission to accept crumbs. Insight without boundary becomes self-betrayal in a nicer outfit. 3. No spiritual bypass. Synchronicity is not an excuse to wait indefinitely. We will honor timing and practice agency. A quick kit you can keep in your pocket while we travel. 2-breath reset. When the urge to text surges, take 1 breath longer than usual on the exhale. Then name your state in 2 words. Tender, anxious. Action follows state. Regulate first. Reality line. On paper, draw a line down the middle. Left, what is in your control? Sleep, rituals, creative work, friendships, the next honest sentence. Right, what is not? Their pace, their fear, their reply. Circle only the left. That's the Stoic move. Ritual of return. Choose one daily act that returns you to self when longing spikes. Walk without your phone. Tea by a window. Prayer beads. Breath prayer. Metta. May I be safe. May I be free. Sacred isn't theatrical. It's repeated. Our path from here mirrors the inner terrain. First, we'll enter the shadow and watch how repression turns tenderness into threat. Then we'll face the persona and why your authenticity shakes masks. We'll trace the anima animus projections that dress you in myth and make closeness impossible. We'll unmask projection and the idealized devalue loop that distance protects. We'll examine the individuation gap, why love feels like death to an unintegrated ego. We'll honor synchronicity as sacred pause, not punishment. And finally, we'll practice healing without contact. How to let the ache initiate you instead of consume you. If a single sentence must carry this opening, let it be this. Their silence is a conversation between their fear and their becoming. You didn't cause it. You can't cure it. But you can choose what kind of person you become in its presence. And paradoxically, that is the only path that ever made real union possible. 2 people who chose growth before choosing each other. Take 1 slow breath. Feel the ground under your feet. We begin where the alarms first sounded, underground, where the unspoken lives. Imagine a lake at night. On the surface, stillness, stars reflected like a promise. Underneath, a tangle of roots, cold currents, long weeds brushing whatever dares to pass. Most people try to love from the surface, and then panic when your presence pulls a rope that's tied to the bottom. That jolt you felt from them, the flinch, the sudden distance, is not always about you, it's about the lake. Jung named the tangle the shadow, not only our malice or envy, but every quality, memory, and need we exiled to survive. Many of us learned early that certain states were unacceptable. Neediness was mocked, tears punished, anger unsafe, joy too much. We adapted, We learn to pass as self-sufficient, reasonable, invulnerable. The cost was an inner ecosystem full of unfelt emotions still asking for air. When someone like you arrives, steady gaze, open presence, truth in your voice, you don't just trigger attraction, you trigger remembrance. Nerves that have been numb flicker back to life. The system reading intensity confuses aliveness with alarm. Your kindness becomes exposure. Your attention becomes a spotlight. Your silence becomes a stage on which old scenes reenact themselves. The shadow doesn't see you. It sees the past trying to happen again. From the body's angle, repression has a signature. The autonomic nervous system scans for safety cues and threat cues every second. If a person has a history of being shamed for needing, their body reads closeness as risk. Muscles recruit, breath shortens, pupils change, hands fidget toward escape. The mind then rationalizes the body's retreat. Work is crazy. The timing's off. You deserve more. These narratives aren't always lies. They're alibis written by a physiology guarding itself. Here's the paradox Jung kept pointing to. What we refuse to feel does not die. It organizes. Depressed grief becomes irritability. Repressed longing becomes contempt. Repressed fear becomes control. Then the psyche does something clever and cruel. It projects the unwanted state onto the person who wakes it. You're too intense. You're needy. You're the one rushing. In reality, it is the disowned need inside them crying through your name. Myth gives us an honest image. Inanna, descending to the underworld, passes 7 gates, and at each gate surrenders a symbol of power, crown, beads, cloak, until she stands naked before the Dark Queen. Descent is humiliating to the ego. It is liberating to the soul. Real closeness is a kind of descent. The shadow hates this. It will do anything to keep the costume, especially vanish. A disguised vignette. Cass, 35, never cried. His father called tears manipulation. His mother called needs an inconvenience. Cass dated lightly, good dinners, tidy exits. Then he met Ari, who didn't hustle for likability. She listened as if silence had weight. Cass felt an ache he couldn't name. After a few luminous conversations, he pulled back. Paragraph-long drafts sat unsent. He told himself he was busy. In session, I asked him to name 2 body sensations when he thought of texting Ari. Heat in my face, he said, and a rock in my stomach. We tracked the rock. It was shame, the child shame of needing. Cass didn't fear Ari's rejection. He feared remembering the cost of needing in his family. Once he could name that, the spell loosened. He didn't sprint toward Ari. He stood longer at the water's edge without calling it drowning. Notice what healed him. Not a biography fact, but felt truth witnessed in a safe room. Jung would call that a temenos, a container where the shadow can step out of costume without being punished. Without temenos, repression keeps building pressure until it bursts as ghosting, rage, or abrupt declarations of not ready. Let's get practical. If you suspect repression is driving the dance, yours or theirs, use craft, not drama. Practice is for your side, the only side you control. 1. Name, normalize, nourish. 3N. When a wave rises, longing, sadness, jealousy, name it in 2 words, tender, scared. Normalize by reminding yourself, bodies do this when bonds feel uncertain. Nourish with a micro-care act that calms the animal. Drink water, walk outside, hand to heart for 60 seconds. You're teaching your system, aliveness is not an emergency. Second dose, contact. If silence from them spikes your system, design predictable self-contact windows, e.g. 8 to 9 p.m. nightly no phone hour. Remind your body it belongs to a reliable adult, you, not to the roulette of a notification. 3. Shadow journal, 5 lines. At day's end, write 5 beginning stems. Today I hid. Today I wanted. Today I judged. Today I feared. Today I honored. Do not explain. The aim is exposure without prosecution. Over weeks, patterns surface. Compassion follows. If they return after disappearing, and you choose to engage, refuse the old script without shaming them. One line changes everything. I'm open to exploring, and I need slow, honest contact. No vanishing. Can we agree to name overwhelm instead of ghost? You're building a containment rule. If they cannot agree, believe them. That's not punishment. It's boundary. The immune system of the soul. From Stoicism, adopt dichotomy of control like a daily vitamin. You cannot control their shadow work. You can choose virtue under uncertainty. Honesty without pressure. Warmth without chase. Dignity without dramatics. Ask yourself each morning, what would a steady, self-respecting person do with this hour? Do that. Repeat. The Tao adds a quiet edge. Wu Wei. Right action without forcing. It looks like this in love. You make your availability clear. You refuse to manage their process. You let reality be a teacher. A word on compassion without self-abandonment. It is kind to understand another's repression. It is unkind, to you and to them, to become an accomplice to it. When you accept breadcrumb intimacy, tiny crumbs of connection to keep hope alive, your nervous system learns that hunger is the price of love. That's not Jungian growth. That's a trauma reenactment with poetic lighting. Choose a different myth. Clinical tells that repression is active. Inconsistent availability, paired with consistent intensity when present. High idealization at the start, then sudden cooling without conversation. Language that abstracts feelings. It's complicated. I'm processing things, while avoiding simple, accountable asks. I need 2 weeks. Can we check in on the 15th? If you're the one who retreats, try a repair script that respects both psyches. When we got close, old fear spiked and I withdrew instead of speaking it. I'm not asking you to wait. If you're open, I'd like to learn to name overwhelm in real time. My first step, a weekly check-in on Sundays to say how I'm doing with this work. Then do it. Reliability is the antidote to the harm your silence taught. Archetypally, the antidote to shadow-driven retreat is the healer in concert with the warrior. The healer brings mercy to buried feeling. The warrior brings commitment to new behavior. Mercy without commitment is mood. Commitment without mercy is cruelty. Together, they turn descent into initiation. A brief breath practice for acute spikes. Sit. Feet flat. One hand on chest, one on belly. Inhale through the nose to a count of 4. Exhale through the mouth to 6. Longer exhale signals safety. On each exhale, say quietly, not a threat, just a wave. 10 rounds. Then text a friend, not about them, but about a small plan you can keep. Gym tomorrow, 7 a.m., chapter tonight. You're steering energy into agency. And for the soul that longs for myth more than method, take this picture with you. A door at the base of a tree. Everything you've disowned lives behind it. Every time love approaches, the door rattles and you want to run. Tonight, instead, light a small lantern and open it an inch. Call one exiled thing by its name, need, grief, hope, and let it sit by the fire without interrogation. When it is less afraid of you, it will be less afraid of them. The truth at the center of this part is simple, painful, clean. Tenderness feels like threat to the unvisited shadow. You cannot argue a body into trust. You can only train it, gently, daily. If they will not train with you, train anyway. The person you become in that training is the person capable of love when it arrives ready. We turn next to the mask that makes repression look like personality, the persona, and why your unguardedness rattles it like wind through a stage set. On stage, the set looks solid. Brick walls, iron stair, windows lit like a city at dusk. Up close, it's plywood and paint. The persona is like that, convincing at a distance, fragile near intimacy. Jung called persona the crafted interface between self and society, the mask we learn to wear so families love us, schools reward us, cultures hire us. The persona isn't a villain, it's a tool. But tools turn dangerous when they forget they are tools. When someone has over-identified with a persona, the composed one, the lone wolf, the rational achiever, the unbothered queen, Your unguarded presence doesn't just attract them, it endangers their set design. Why? Because personas are built to manage audiences, not encounters. Audiences applaud consistency. Encounters ask for truth. Your steady gaze, your permission for silence, your refusal to barter authenticity for performance. These things cause the mask's glue to soften. If their life has been negotiated through image, status, competence, aloofness, then being with you requires breaking character. That can feel like dying. Jung warned that when the distance between persona and self gets too wide, the soul strains. Symptoms arrive: numbness, emptiness after praise, brittle certainty, panic near intimacy. Many cope by doubling down, polishing the mask. Others disappear the moment someone threatens to see behind it. In both cases, the ego believes survival depends on being the persona. Your presence asks a different question. Who are you when no one is clapping? From the body's view, persona collapse has markers. The nervous system learned long ago that image equals safety. In intimacy, where image loses utility, alarm rises, micro-freezes mid-sentence, a sudden joke to change the subject, a compulsive check of the phone, a philosophy monologue, replacing a feeling. None of this means they don't care. It means caring forces a gear change they were never taught to make. Archetypally, the persona often borrows energy from the ruler, control, magician, impression, or warrior, invulnerability. But intimacy calls forth the lover, openness, and healer, tenderness, while asking the warrior to guard boundaries rather than block feelings, and the magician to translate, not manipulate, experience. When the inner council is unintegrated, these archetypes quarrel. You become the courtroom where their debate gets loud, a disguised vignette. Elise, 32, ran an entire department and wore competence like armor. She liked Noah precisely because he didn't perform. He answered slowly. He let silence be full. He remembered what she said 3 weeks ago without turning it into a brand. After 3 luminous dates, she vanished behind. Q4 is wild. In therapy, she said, "With him I can't put on the presentation." When asked what presentation protected, she went quiet, then whispered, "If I'm not impressive, what am I offering?" The mask had mistaken worth for performance. Our work wasn't about Noah. It was about Elise learning to stay unperformed for 3 breaths longer than she wanted, then 5, then 10, until the animal of her body discovered it did not die when the slide deck stayed closed. Persona mechanics to watch for, in them or you. Role speak instead of I. As a founder, / as a therapist, / as an Enneagram 5, roles triangulate away from feeling. Charm as shield. Witty, generous, impressive, yet the moment you open, they pivot the spotlight back. Abstraction flood. Big words arrive where small truths should live. I'm processing complex dynamics instead of I'm scared. What helps? Not argument, atmosphere. You cannot debate a persona off a face. You can make a room where the face beneath doesn't need armor. Jung's Temenos again. A bounded space where reality can unfold without humiliation. That looks like pace, slow, edges, consent, and truth, specificity. For you, the side you can govern. 3 crafts. 1. Trade identity queries for body questions. Instead of, who are we? Try, what does your body feel right now with me? Persona can parry identity talk. It struggles to fake sensation. If they answer honestly, you're behind the mask. 2. Offer micro-consent. Do you want presence or perspective? Is silence okay for a minute? Consent tells the persona it won't be taken. Masks loosen when control isn't at risk. 3. Name the small true. When you look at the table while I share, I feel you leave. If you need a pause, can we say it out loud? Specifics bypass the mask's legal team. A short practice called D-roll, 4 minutes. Do it with any partner, friend, or alone before hard talks. Minute 1. Say out loud 3 roles you're setting down. Boss, caretaker, clever one. Minute 2. Place a hand on your belly, Breathe 4 in and a 6 out. Whisper, I'm not a role, I'm a person. Minute 3. Name one sensation, one emotion, one need. Warm chest, relief, I need slow. Minute 4. Agree on a container. 15 minutes, phones away. Either can call pause. If you're the one hiding behind your own sheen, here's a repair sentence that keeps dignity. I notice I go into performance when I want you to like me. I'm practicing staying human instead. If I start performing, can you say, human, please, and I'll pause? Invite accountability without shame. Train with repetition, not self-scolding. Stoicism lends a spine. Summum bonum, the highest good, is character, not image. Ask, what would a courageous and kind person do instead of building a kindness might be? I can't offer consistency. It's not fair to keep you in ambiguity. Character over optics. Taoism adds wu-wei, effortless rightness. In practice, that's low-drama honesty. Not a grand confession, just clean lines. I'm tempted to run to my mask. I'm going to slow down instead. The river shape of that sentence, simple, real, unforced, erodes rock better than a sermon. Discernment for you if you're engaging someone deeply masked. Do they allow small ruptures and repairs? If every misstep becomes a PR crisis, the persona rules. Can they tolerate being seen doing nothing impressive? Picnic, laundry, grocery aisle. If intimacy requires stage lighting, it's not intimacy. Will they name fear without outsourcing it? I'm scared and I'm working on it, versus, you made me feel unsafe by being sincere. Red flags that say, step back. Persistent image management on all channels, paired with avoidance of concrete agreements about contact. Punitive withdrawal when you ask for truth. Weaponized ambiguity, statements engineered to keep you hoping while they risk nothing. If you choose distance, depart with clean language. I like what happens to me when I'm with you, but the mask keeps winning. I need relationships where honesty beats image. If that changes, you know how to reach me. You honor the soul without colluding with the set. Archetypally, the medicine is integration. Warrior for boundaries, lover for warmth, sage for perspective, healer for mercy. Invite all 4 in yourself first. People wearing heavy masks sometimes borrow your integration as a mirror. Sometimes they borrow your energy as a battery. Your job is to be a mirror, not a generator for another's performance. A final scene for your imagination. A rehearsal hall at midnight. The crew has gone home. The lead character sits alone, makeup half removed, looking at themselves in a lit mirror. On the chair beside them, your message, folded. Not a plea, a line. No show needed. The person in the mirror breathes, really breathes, for the first time that day. Maybe they text, maybe they don't. What matters is that you keep living where mirrors are for truth, not illusion. Because in love, not the performance of love, the living of it, the person we can set down our mask with is the person we can build a life with. Your presence will keep rattling cheap sets. That's not a problem to solve, it's a filter. Let it filter. What remains when the plywood falls is what can hold you. Next we'll enter the most intoxicating and destabilizing layer, anima and animus. How your face becomes their inner opposite's mask, why recognition feels like destiny, and how to step out of myth back into meeting. There is a particular electricity in certain meetings, the kind that makes you feel both ancient and brand new. You swear you've heard their voice in a dream. Their presence rearranges the furniture in your chest. Logic calls it chemistry. Jung calls it the anima animus at work, the inner opposite, long exiled or ignored, suddenly projected onto a living person who seems to carry what your soul has been missing. For a man, the anima is the inner feminine principle, feeling, relatedness, intuition, the moonlit ways of knowing. For a woman, the animus is the inner masculine principle, clarity, logos, structure, discriminating will, the sunlit line that says, this, not that. Every psyche contains both, regardless of gender. When these principles are unintegrated, they go looking for bodies to wear. They find you. That's why the attraction feels mythic. You're not just beautiful, interesting, or kind. You are a carrier. He looks at you and catches a scent of his own lost tenderness. It feels like home, and therefore like danger. She looks at you and glimpses her unclaimed authority. It feels like arrival, and therefore like vertigo. The psyche mistakes recognition for readiness and tries to sprint across a bridge that isn't built. The result? Intensity at a distance. Fascination in silence. A love story rehearsed in the skull with no hand on the doorknob. Myth tells the truth in costume. Eros and Psyche meet in darkness. Love insists on trust without inspection. When Psyche lights the lamp too soon, demanding certainty before maturity, the union collapses and trials begin. The teaching is not, don't ask questions. It's, grow enough to see without destroying what you see. Anima-animus projection is like that. The lamp turns on too fast, illuminating everything, including our own unright parts. If we haven't built the muscles those parts require, we run, often while staring over our shoulder. Here's the trap. Projection gives us ecstasy without effort. A man missing his feeling life meets a woman who is fluent in tenderness. He feels deep without learning to feel. A woman missing her assertive voice meets a grounded man. She feels decisive without practicing decision. The other person becomes a prosthetic. The psyche senses the theft and stages a revolt. Idealization flips into avoidance or critique. Too emotional, too intense, too demanding. In truth, the borrowed function simply wants to go home. How do you tell you're inside an anima/anima spell? Speed plus symbolism. The bond feels instantly significant, thick with omens, dreams, songs. Distance protects the magic. Contact threatens the ideal. Silence maintains it. Either or thinking. They're the one or a fraud. Nuance vanishes. Self-eclipse. You feel unusually profound merely by being near them, and strangely hollow when apart. Reversal under stress. The very quality that drew them, your warmth, your steadiness, becomes the quality they blame. None of this means the relationship is false. It means the relationship is trying to grow you first. Jung's medicine is not to kill the magic. It's to withdraw the projection gently, returning stolen capacities to their rightful owner. When the anima-animus comes home, desire becomes real relatedness. The myth becomes a map, not a mirage. Practical ways to withdraw the projection without killing the romance. 1. Name the function you're borrowing. In a sentence. Around you I feel more tender, clear, decisive, soft, grounded. Then ask yourself, how do I practice this without them? If it's anima, feeling, schedule feeling time, 10 minutes daily. Name sensation, emotion, and the smallest merciful action. If it's animus, clarity, choose one decision per day and make it clean. Deadline, criteria, commitment. 2. Active imagination, 10 minutes. Sit quietly. Invite the inner opposite as a figure, not the person. Ask 2 questions. What do you want from me? How can I honor you today without using someone else? Let images speak. River, lamp, key. Then enact one symbol in the smallest possible way. Pour water slowly. Light a candle before writing. Wear the key you've been avoiding, a calendar block. 3. A tiny rite of reciprocity. Each time you ache to text for reassurance, do one act that builds the missing muscle in you first. Then if you still wish, reach out, but from wholeness, not from a vacancy. Over weeks, the charge softens, choice returns. A disguised vignette. Roman, 38, analytic and brilliant, fell for Maya, a therapist with a laugh like warm bread. Around her, he wept for the first time in years and then, terrified, stopped replying. In session, he said, "She makes me emotional." We rephrased, "Maya awakens your emotion." His task was to learn feeling without Maya as the instrument. He started with a 3-minute body check after work and a weekly men's group where silence wasn't currency. As his anima returned, he texted Maya, not to extract feeling but to share it. "I cried today and held it. I'd like to see you if you're open." She was. They had a relationship now, not a rental. For her side of the street, Camilla, 31, had long outsourced decisiveness. Meeting Theo, steady and principled, felt like exhaling into a backbone. She also stopped making choices. Resentment brewed on both sides. We named her Animus and gave it practice. One non-negotiable no per week, tiny, specific, and one calendar gate she alone controlled, Sunday 9 to 11 a.m., creative work. Attraction remained, but dependency receded. The spell loosened into freedom. A stoic layer helps. The dichotomy of control insists your flourishing cannot rest on another carrying your unclaimed function. Don't ask someone to be your courage, your tenderness, your backbone. Become it. Taoism adds shape. Wu Wei isn't passivity, it's aligned action. In this field, Wu Wei looks like building the inner opposite in small, right-feeling steps, rather than forcing the relationship to carry your unfinishedness. Discernment if you're the recipient of someone's projection. Do they like you or the way they feel near you? Ask them to name 3 specifics about you that have nothing to do with how they feel. When you disappoint the myth, do they grow or punish? Growth sounds like, I felt let down and I'm working with it. Punishment sounds like withdrawal plus moralizing. Can they practice their own missing function? If not, your role will be prosthetic, then scapegoat. Boundaries that preserve dignity. I'm not available to be your feeling life/decision maker. I'm open to meet as 2 whole people who practice those capacities on our own and then bring them to the table. If silence is how you protect the ideal, I choose reality. We can slow down, but we need contact that names overwhelm. How to disentangle without contempt if you need space. I see the part of me that wanted you to carry my feeling clarity. That's my work. I'm stepping back to build it. If you want to reconnect in X weeks after I've taken some steps, I'd like that. Specificity creates containment. Contempt creates complexes. Cautions. Spiritualized excuses. Where twin flames can be a poetic way to justify chaos. If the connection cannot tolerate basic agreements and repairs, it's not mystical, it's immature. Therapy is theater. Talking archetypes without changing behavior is persona doing cosplay. The anima animus returns home by practice, not poetry. Overcorrecting into cynicism. Killing the imaginal to avoid pain is another defense. Keep the myth, remove the addiction to it. A brief exercise for couples or would-be couples. 2 lamps, 8 minutes total. Sit facing each other with a small object, a pen will do, between you to represent the third, the relationship. 1 minute each answers. What part of me you awaken that I want to cultivate in myself? Next minute each. 1 tiny action I'll take this week to grow that part. No crosstalk. End by touching the object. You're telling the psyche, we meet as ourselves, not to complete ourselves. Archetypally, what we're aiming at is Hieros Gamos, the sacred inner marriage. Not a wedding day, but an ongoing union of inner feminine and masculine, so that love is 2 whole people sharing their rivers, rather than 2 thirsty people stealing cups. When these rivers meet, desire remains, but it stops demanding worship. It wants reciprocity, craftsmanship, laughter, a life. So if someone wants you and doesn't reach out, consider this sober kindness. Perhaps they are fighting not you, but a centuries-old civil war between their inner sun and moon. If they're willing to train, there is hope. If they are not, your job is not to be the battlefield. It is to build your own inner treaty until your presence asks nothing dishonest of another. Picture this: 2 lanterns in a dark room. For years you tried to make theirs your light. Tonight, you trim your wick. The room brightens, not by begging, but by being. From across the room, if they are ready, they'll do the same. If not, you still have a lantern. You can see your own path. That is not a consolation prize. That is adulthood. Next, we'll unmask the veil that keeps this spell intact. Projection and complexes, the invisible filter that makes you the screen for old films, why idealization needs distance, and the exact practices that return perception to the present. You think you're looking at a person, your psyche is looking at a screen. Onto that screen, films begin to play, spliced from childhood bedrooms, old breakups, a teacher's laugh, a door that never opened, a door that slammed. Jung called these living reals complexes, emotionally charged clusters of memory, sensation, belief, and image that orbit the ego like small moons. When someone stirs you deeply, the projector hums to life. The image on the wall is sharp. It is also not the person in front of you. Projection is not a moral failure. It's a mechanism. The psyche externalizes what it cannot yet bear to see in here. If you disown your anger, you'll find it in everyone else's tone. If you exile your need, you'll call others needy for asking the very care you hunger for. If you carry a wound of abandonment, a 4-hour reply can feel like a childhood winter. The other person's behavior is not irrelevant, but the charge you feel is disproportionate because the present has awakened the past. Consider 3 common projections that fuel want without contact. 1. Idealization, the golden film. You project unlived beauty, goodness, or power onto them. They aren't simply kind, they are salvation. Distance is required to preserve this glow. Real contact introduces texture, which the projection experiences as threat. The solution is withdrawal disguised as mystery. 2. Fear casting, the dark film. You project your dread. If you expect rejection, neutrality becomes contempt. If you expect control, care becomes surveillance. You defend against a danger the present hasn't earned. 3. Self-reversal, the mirror film. You accuse the other of what you're doing, calling them avoidant while you never risk a clear ask, calling them intense while you rehearse a wedding in your head after coffee. Complexes are clever, they recruit evidence. A song you both heard becomes an omen. A delayed text becomes a verdict. A coincidence becomes destiny or doom, depending on which reel is playing. Jung did not tell us to stop feeling. He taught us to differentiate what belongs to now and what belongs to then. A disguised vignette. Harper, 29, met John at a retreat. He listened the way her father never did. In 2 days, she felt home. When John didn't text for a week after returning, her stomach fell through the floor. She drafted speeches, then decided silence was dignity. In session, we slowed it down. What did her body know? Tight jaw, cold hands. What did her history know? Dads, I'll call you. We wrote 2 columns. Now, met a man who seemed present, no agreements, no harm. And then, years of promises without follow-through. Harper cried, not for John, but for the 8-year-old at the window. From that place, she sent 1 clean text. I enjoyed you. If you're open, let's plan a call next week. Otherwise, I'll release this kindly. He replied within the hour. Yes, Wednesday? The point is not the reply. The point is that perception returned to the present and action followed clarity, not panic. How do complexes pull people who want you into silence? Because you become a trigger, not of harm, but of unresolved meaning. If their mother was engulfing, your availability feels like a trap. If their first love vanished, your intensity feels like the precipice before the push. Their complex whispers, protect yourself, and offers a tactic, don't call. As long as you remain an image, their nervous system can keep the story intact. Distance protects the projection. The work is not to litigate them into sanity. The work is to practice clean seeing in yourself and to insist on clean seeing in the space between you. That looks like language, ritual, and repair. Language that disarms projection. Here's what happened, observable. Here's what I made it mean, story. And here's what I need, actionable. Example, you read my message and replied the next day, happened. I told myself I'm not a priority, meaning. I need either same-day acknowledgement or a simple I'll answer tomorrow, need. Can we do that? I notice I'm reacting at a 10. The behavior is a 3. That tells me the past is in the room. I'm going to downshift and try again. This sentence restores proportion and earns trust. Rituals that return the psyche to now. 1. Hand on the doorframe. Each time you enter or leave a room while texting or waiting, pause with your hand on the frame. Ask, what year is my body in? Name it. 2025, not 2006. Breathe 4-6 once. Proceed. 2 object check. Keep 2 small objects, 1 representing then, a childhood photo, a stone from an old house. 1 now, a key, a current bill. When charge spikes, hold both. Say, Both are true. I honor then. I act from now. 3. Projection audit. Weekly, 10 minutes. List 3 people who stirred you. For each finish, I might be projecting quality onto them that I need to grow in myself by small practice. Then actually schedule the practice. Repair when you've realized you projected. I made your delay mean a story from my past and I withdrew/attacked. I'm sorry. Here's the story. Here's how I'm addressing it. Therapy, journaling, agreements. Here's what I'm requesting going forward. You are naming, owning, committing, and requesting. Not groveling, not blaming. From neuroscience borrow prediction error. The brain is a forecast machine. When reality contradicts a forecast, the system updates or defends. Choose update. Each time someone behaves differently than your fear predicted, say it out loud. Part of me expected you to vanish. You didn't. The speaking is plasticity. Your nervous system rewires by named surprise. Discernment if you're on the receiving end. Do they trade specifics? Projection speaks in absolutes, always, never. Reality uses dates, times, behaviors. Can they tolerate correction? When you say, that's not what happened, do they get curious or escalate? Will they set experiments? Let's try 24-hour reply windows for 2 weeks and review. Experiments signal a move from myth to method. Red flags to step away. Weaponized ambiguity that keeps you hoping while giving nothing measurable. Contempt masquerading as analysis. I've done a lot of work, you're just not integrated. Projection wearing a lab coat. Chronically seeing you through one old lens despite feedback and time. Persistence can be trauma. Love knows how to place its glasses down. If you must step back, exit without hexing. This dynamic puts too much past in the room for both of us. I'm choosing relationships that practice present tense seeing. I wish you goodness in your work. You refuse to become a character in their movie, or the hero in your own. You become a citizen of reality. Archetypally, withdrawing projection is the work of the sage, discernment, and the magician, transformation, serving the lover, connection, and warrior, boundaries. The sage names the real. The magician changes the spell into craft. The warrior protects the frame. The lover keeps the heart soft enough to remain human. A small couple exercise when both are willing. Now then cards. 6 minutes. Each person gets 2 index cards. On one, write now. On the other, then. Person A shares a charged moment in 2 sentences. Person B holds up the card they think A is speaking from. If B lifts then, they ask one tender question about the past it touches. Switch roles. End with one present request. The aim isn't accuracy, it's shared literacy. And if you're alone in this, here's a compass line to tape above the sink. See the person, bless the symbol, choose the present. See them as human, finite, inconsistent, beautiful. Bless the symbol they activated, thank it for pointing to your work. Choose the present, act from what is happening, not only from what happened. Because when projection loosens, 2 good things become possible. If contact is real, you finally meet each other, not a parent, not a ghost. If contact is not real, you finally meet yourself, and you stop negotiating your worth with a memory. From here, the path narrows to the crux of many disappearances, the individuation gap, why love can feel like death to an ego not yet built for truth, and how to respect that gap without shrinking your own life. Stand with me at the hinge where many stories stall, the threshold between the life that kept you safe and the life that lets you be whole. Jung called the long crossing individuation, not becoming someone else, but becoming yourself without the edits that fear demanded. It is slow, inconvenient, and sacred. And this is why someone can want you, ache for you, and still not come closer. Because real love does not offer a couch, it offers a door. To walk through, parts of the old self will have to die. The ego hears die and panics. But Jung's death is not annihilation, it is transformation, like fire to ore, like winter to a field. The person who retreats from you isn't necessarily shallow. They may be unprepared for this fire. Their identity works, sort of. It pays bills, wins praise, keeps pain at arm's length. You don't just offer kisses, you offer revision. Revision asks, are you willing to live without the armor that made you lovable to the wrong rooms? Many souls say yes in poetry, and know in practice. Scan the gap with clear eyes. On one side, persona safety, predictable roles, familiar defenses, a schedule that leaves no time to feel. On the other, self-ownership, shadow known intended, anima animus welcomed home, boundaries that don't perform, tenderness that doesn't apologize. Between them lies a bridge that only effort can build. Therapy, honest friendships, embodied practice, spiritual humility, time. Wanting you cannot substitute for that construction. In fact, wanting you may expose how unfinished the bridge is. From a biological angle, individuation asks for a nervous system that can hold more truth without flipping into survival. If every difficult conversation spikes them into fight/flight/freeze, closeness will feel like a cliff. The work is not to be brave once. It is to raise capacity over months. Better sleep, less stimulant-driven life, regular co-regulation, deliberate exposures to tolerable discomfort. Love is not a biohack. It is an ecosystem. Without tending the ecosystem, the best intentions become flare-ups. Archetypally, individuation requires a council inside. The lover, connection. Warrior, boundaries. Sage, discernment. And healer, mercy, taking turns rightly. In an unindividuated psyche, one archetype runs the state. The warrior alone says, need nothing. The lover alone says, lose yourself. The sage alone says, explain everything. The healer alone says, make pain the center. Your presence invites a coalition government. Coalitions take negotiation and time. Silence, sadly, is many people's interim solution. No election, no coup, just stalemate. A disguised vignette. Devon, 40, had mastered the solo myth. Triathlons, startups, no mess. Then he met Rhea, whose quiet steadiness felt like shoreline after years of swimming. He wanted her fiercely, and ghosted anyway. In the room, Devon admitted, if I choose her, I have to change how I live, not just with whom I live. He was right. Late-night screens had to soften. Friendships built on never needing anyone had to be renegotiated. Rage at his father's absence, long converted into excellence, needed to be grieved, not merely monetized. Devon didn't text Rhea with promises. He texted 6 months later with a life. Therapy receipts, a new schedule, 2 reconciled friendships, a body that could sit still. Rhea didn't owe him a yes, but Devon had crossed the gap. Whether or not they built a romance, he had become a man who can love. If you are on your side of a similar gorge, here is a sober kindness. Do not attempt to drag anyone across. It will break your back and breed resentment. Your task is to become unmistakably yourself, so clear, so grounded, that if timing ever aligns, you meet as adults, not as rescuer and recruit. Individuation is contagious, but only when modeled, not demanded. What specifically widens the gap? Unworked trauma disguised as a worldview. I just don't believe in relationships often means I haven't felt safe enough in my body to endure intimacy's uncertainty. Success that rewarded the mask. Promotions for hyper-availability. Praise for never needing. Status for charm. Individuation threatens the economy that paid for the mask. Community captured by persona. Peer groups where vulnerability is currencyless. Families where truth rewrites inheritance. Choosing self risks social exile. Spiritual bypass. Using synchronicity, destiny language, or the universe will tell me to avoid the ordinary labor of repair, boundary, and presence. And what builds the bridge? 1. Truthful micro-commitments. Replace dramatic vows with weekly observable behaviors. Therapy session kept. 1 honest conversation had. 1 avoidance swapped for approach. Call returned, feeling named. Character grows by kept appointments. 2. Shadow hospitality. A 10-minute daily check-in. Sensation, emotion, image, impulse. No fixing, just accurate hosting. If you can host your own storm, you will not demand a partner be your meteorologist. 3rd, Animus practice. Identify your weaker function feeling or clarity agency. Does it daily, feelings journal, or decision reps? You become less likely to outsource the function to a lover and then resent them for holding it. 4. Ritualized repair. Learn one repair sentence by heart. Here is what I did. Here is the impact I imagine. Here are 2 ways I could make it right. Is there something you want to add? Repeat until your nervous system associates conflict with craft, not catastrophe. If you're the one waiting on the other side, fold your longing into standards. Clarity standard. If you're overwhelmed, name it. If you need time, propose a date. Silence isn't acceptable. Consistency standard. I match effort, not potential. Dignity standard. I move toward what moves toward me. I bless what doesn't, and I build my life. Stoicism will keep you sane here. The dichotomy of control sorts the ache. You cannot control someone else's readiness. You can control your virtue today. Honesty, patience, courage, temperance. Ask each morning, what does love require of my character if contact never comes? Then practice that. Taoism adds flow. Stop pushing the river. Build the banks. Habits, friendships, work that matters. And the river will know where to run. Discernment questions that save time. Are they willing to name the work? Not, I'm complicated, but I dissociate when close. I'm seeing a trauma-informed therapist. Here's how I'll signal overwhelm. Do they demonstrate time-bound agreements? I'll check in Sunday. And then they do, without fanfare. When they fail, do they repair? Not perfect, but patterned. The nervous system trusts patterns, not apologies. Red flags that say the gap is not closing. Chronic ambiguity that keeps you as Plan A's stand-in while they chase Plan Fantasy. Values clash, fidelity, honesty, care, disguised as differences in attachment style. Attachment is workable. Values are foundational. You shrinking, voice, friendships, creativity to stay near their comfort. If intimacy costs your aliveness, it is not individuation, it is regression. If you need to step back, do it with clean language that honors both journeys. I respect the work you're facing. I'm building a life that asks for steady contact and shared effort. If your path brings you there, I'm open to a conversation. Until then, I'm going to live forward. No ultimatums, no backdoors, no barbs. A practice for those who want to cross, the 90-day bridge. Commit, quietly, to yourself, to 90 days of 3 pillars. Inner, weekly therapy or structured self-inquiry. Daily 10-minute state check. 1 shadow conversation with a trusted friend. Relational, 1 hard truth spoken kindly each week to someone, not necessarily them. 1 repair attempted, 1 boundary kept. Embodied, consistent sleep window, alcohol caffeine audit, 20 minutes of movement most days. Mark the days. Not for perfection, for direction. After 90 days, you'll know if the bridge exists because you'll have walked it. Myth returns with a lantern. In Orpheus and Eurydice, love descends to the underworld to bring the beloved back. The only rule, don't look back too soon. Orpheus does, and she vanishes. The punishment isn't arbitrary, it's symbolic. The ego wants certainty before completion. Individuation demands faithful action before assurance. Walk your path without constant backward checks for proof. Let reality confirm at the end of the corridor, not every 10 steps. If they cannot or will not cross, translate your grief into growth. Jung would say, the energy bound in longing can be sublimated, not suppressed, but rechanneled into creation, craft, service, study, prayer. Sublimation is how the psyche keeps Eros alive without burning the house down. Make something with this ache that your future self will thank you for. And if they do begin to cross, remember, you're not the promised land, you're a person. Keep your standards, keep your practices. Meet them as 2 travelers who decided to become real in separate rooms, and now have the privilege to see if your rooms make a home. Take 1 breath. Feel the refusal in you to become smaller in order to be loved. That refusal is not hardness, it is honor. From here we'll approach time itself. the way meaning sometimes says not yet, and how to live well in the space between signal and step. There are seasons when the world seems to conspire with your longing. Their song plays as you unlock the car. A feather lands on your coat just as you whisper their name. You dream the same image twice in a week: a bridge at dusk, a train that pauses and then moves. Jung called this synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence without a traceable causal thread. Not superstition, not proof. A pattern of resonance between inner life and outer event that suggests the psyche is wider than your skull, and time has layers we can feel but not govern. Synchronicity gets misused when the ego treats it like a traffic light. Green means chase, red means despair. But the soul doesn't run on street signals. More often, synchronicity is a weather report. The air is charged. Something wants to happen. Prepare your inner house. The mistake is to confuse charge with permission. You read signs, you flood with certainty. You act as if fate owes you a shortcut. The result is haste, and haste fractures what might have ripened if you had let time do its slow art. Jung noticed that synchronistic clusters often arrive around thresholds: death, birth, illness, creative breakthroughs, deep love. Thresholds are liminal. The old is not fully gone, the new not fully born. In liminality, the unconscious speaks in intensified symbols to stabilize and orient you. Keep going. Slow down. Turn inward. Make space. If two people are pulled toward each other but one or both are unready, shadow unvisited, persona brittle, inner opposite outsourced, synchronicity may thicken, not to grant a pass around growth, but to pressurize the container so growth becomes unavoidable. The soul is a patient engineer. From the body's vantage, timing is a state as much as a schedule. Your nervous system has seasons. Capacity swells and shrinks. If you treat "not yet" as failure, your system floods shame. You grasp, you force. You turn sacred timing into a performance review. If you treat "not yet" as information, your system can settle. Curiosity returns. You steward your life instead of sprinting after omens. Myth has always warned against premature unveiling. Psyche lights the lamp too soon. Orpheus looks back too early. Persephone eats pomegranate seeds before spring. These aren't punishments for moody gods. They are pictures of a psychological law. Prematurity harms. A love that would ask you to become whole cannot be built with the moves that maintained your half-life. When meaning says "not yet," the wise response is not sulking, it's craft. So how do you honor synchronicity without making it a leash? 1. Treat signs as invitations to prepare, not permissions to possess. When a sign lands, dream, repeat symbol, uncanny meeting. Perform 2 actions, both small and grounded. 1 inner, 1 outer. Inner might be journaling the dream and drawing a single image from it. Outer might be cleaning a corner of your living space, scheduling therapy, or writing 1 honest email that was overdue. Not to them, to your life. You are telling the field, "I heard. I'm building capacity." 2. Practice timed containment. If synchronicity spikes yearning, give yourself a ritual container for the ache. 15 minutes a day where you let yourself feel without censorship. Music, tears, prayer, poetry. When the timer ends, you shift into a task. Walk, cook, answer email. This keeps arrows fiery but bounded, which is how humans make art instead of mess. 3. Ask the 3 timing questions. Is it right? Values aligned? Dignity intact? Is it mutual? Effort meets effort, not potential. Is it ready? Capacity to hold heat without fleeing or harming. You permit 1 clear outreach if needed. If you're open, let's speak next week, and accept the result as data. At the end, you review. Am I more alive? Has reality offered a door? You are training the muscle called patience with teeth. 5. Use the Stoic dial. Synchronicity tempts control. The Stoics hand you a dial with 2 settings: mine/not mine. Mine, how I love, the integrity of my ask, the care of my body, the stewardship of my work. Not mine, their fear, their calendar, their path. Each time you catch yourself reading tea leaves, touch the dial and turn back to mine. You'll feel smaller for a moment and freer an hour later. 6. Walk the Taoic middle. Wu Wei, effortless action, doesn't mean no action. It means right-sized action. Send the text when it's clean. Wait when your gut knows you're trying to bend time to your will. If you don't trust your gut yet, borrow a rule. Sleep once on every major move. If it still feels clear in the morning, act. If it thins, let the river run. A disguised vignette. Anya and Leif met volunteering. Within days, clocks misbehaved, street numbers matched, birth dates, shared dreams, sudden songs. Leif, who had not felt alive in years, wanted to push. Anya, freshly sober, knew she was fragile. They made a synchronicity pact. Honor the signs by building their lives, not by fusing. Sunday mornings they shared dreams on a bench. Weekdays they kept separate routines, therapy for him, meetings for her, both expanded friendships. 3 months later, Anya said, "I think I can hold this now." Their first kiss tasted like the patience it required. The signs hadn't promised possession. They had prepared 2 lives to meet without collapse. Of course, there are other endings. Sometimes synchronicity blazes for a season and then goes quiet. The dream stops. The songs stop. The ache recedes. That too is meaningful. The assignment is complete. Bless it. The point was never to collect the person like a shell. It was to recover a piece of yourself that fell asleep years ago. If you receive that piece back, the universe did not tease you. It trained you. What about when signs persist long after contact has vanished? Be gentle. The psyche has inertia. Symbols keep circling until the energy bound in them finds a new riverbed. Help them relocate. Transmute longing into creation. Write the essay. Paint the bridge you keep dreaming. Build the community you hoped the relationship would deliver by itself. This is sublimation in Jung's sense. Eros lifted into form. Meaning wants a body. Discernment to save your dignity. Reciprocal reality beats private revelation. If synchronicity is strong but agreements are weak, live forward. Sacred waiting has edges. If waiting costs your health, friendships, or vocation, it's not sacred. It's self-sacrifice to an idea. 2 yeses or bless it. Love is a 2-key safe. 1 key opens nothing. A brief exercise for this week. The Ledger of Meaning, 10 minutes, Sundays. Divide a page into 4. Dreams/images, outer echoes, my preparation, reality check. Under dreams/images, jot symbols that visited. Under outer echoes, the coincidences. Under my preparation, list concrete steps you took, therapy, sleep, boundary, craft. Under reality check, write the actual relational facts, calls made, plans set, repairs done. When the page tilts towards symbol and echo without preparation and reality, you know to shift energy from scanning to building. Archetypally, timing work invites the sage, discernment, to keep the lover from drowning, the warrior to hold boundaries with gentleness, and the magician to transmute signals into practice. When all 4 cooperate, synchronicity becomes a teacher rather than a tyrant. And the image to carry? A seed in winter soil. If you dug every day to check progress, you'd kill it. If you ignore it completely, it may starve. The craft is seasonal. Attention, water, protect, wait. When the first green breaks the surface, you don't yank it taller, you make sure it has light. If someone wants you and does not reach out, timing might be one of the elders in the room. Honor it, but do not hand it your life. Bow, then turn toward what is unquestionably yours. Making a life that is so honest and awake that when timing knocks it finds you ready, not frantic. From here, one last turn inward, healing without closure. How to convert ache into growth when contact doesn't come. How to release without contempt, and how to keep your heart soft enough to recognize love when it finally arrives with a yes. Some stories end without a door closing, only a hallway growing quiet. The ego hates this. It wants verdicts, signatures, scenes that tell the nervous system what chapter it's in. But many of love's initiations end not with an answer, but with an increase of awareness, and the assignment to carry that awareness into a larger life. Jung would call this an active ending. You do not receive closure, you create it by the way you metabolize meaning. Let's begin where the ache is simplest. You wanted contact, it didn't come. Your body surged with interpretation. I wasn't enough, it was all in my head, I'm cursed. Pause. In Jung's map, feelings are facts of experience, not verdicts on worth. They point to where life is moving in you. Your task is not to silence them, but to conduct them, like a riverbed conducts water, so they irrigate your future instead of flooding your days. Here is a plain, repeatable craft, 5 movements that turn ache into growth. 1. Name the gold. Write what this connection gave you, even in absence. Did you rediscover tenderness? A forgotten appetite for truth? The courage to stop performing? Name 3 specifics and place them somewhere visible. Gratitude here is not sentimental. It is precision. You are telling your psyche, this was not a waste. It was a revelation. 2. Honor the grief. Set aside 15 minutes daily for 40 days, a small season, to let sadness do its work. No bargaining, no what if. Just breath, music if you need, a hand over the heart, and the sentence, something in me loved, something in me is learning to let go. When the timer ends, close with one ordinary act. Wash a cup, take out the trash. You are teaching your body that pain and life can coexist without catastrophe. 3. Withdraw the projection. List the traits you adored or feared in them. Beside each, write the practice that grows that trait in you. Their steadiness, my 9 p.m. phone-in drawer ritual. Their clarity, my 2 clean decisions each day. Their warmth, my weekly acts of unoptimized kindness. The energy once tethered to fantasy becomes character. 4. Make a covenant with reality. Write a small code of contact you'll carry forward. Examples: I match consistency, not chemistry. If you need time, propose a date. Silence is a no. I do not audition for love. Place this where you'll see it on good days and lonely nights. This is Jungian. Ego serves self. Your code defends the life you're building from the moods that visit. 5. Sublimate the eros. Eros is not only sexual or romantic force, it is life force seeking form. Choose one project, creative, vocational, or service, to receive the current that has nowhere relational to go. I'll finish the essay. I'll mentor on Tuesdays. I'll train for that 10K. Sublimation is not distraction. It is transformation, desire turned into work that blesses more than one person. If you practice these 5 for a season, something shifts. Not overnight, not theatrically, but day by day, your center of gravity moves from them to you with God/source/life, to the quietly sovereign place Jung wanted for every soul, related, receptive, and responsible for its own becoming. Let's be honest about the places we get stuck. Rumination as self-hypnosis. Turning the story over is not the same as digesting it. Set a containment window, 15 minutes to think and write, then return to the body. Walk, breathe, cook. Magical deadlines. If they text by Friday, it's fate. That's superstition wearing a suit. Replace with time-bound dignity. I'll make one clear outreach. If there's no response, I release with kindness and refocus for 90 days. Comparative despair. Their feed is not their life. Yours isn't either. Put the phone away like a knife you choose not to carry into your own heart. Red flags that say the work is to leave well. Your standards are bending. Sleep, work, friendships dim. To keep vigil for a door that won't open. Their re-entries come without repair or plan, only intensity and apology. Your body lives in hypervigilance. Startle, shallow breath, compulsive checking. Safety is not a feeling you beg for. It is a condition you build. If you choose distance, do it without hex or halo. One clean message suffices. I honor what this awakened. I'm choosing relationships with steady contact and shared effort. If your readiness changes, you can reach out. I may or may not be available then. For now, I'm living forward. You bless, you bound. You belong to your own life again. And if, sometimes it happens, they return later with evidence of change, not speeches, meet them as the person your practices have made. That means 2 things. Re-entrance has gates, clarity, consistency, and a plan for overwhelm. No gate, no garden. You bring a life, friends, work, rituals, a nervous system you steward. Love is not your rescuer. It's a river that joins a river. Before we close, Gather the hour into a handful of sentences you can carry. Desire versus fear. They didn't only want you, they also met themselves. Sometimes the first meeting is too bright. Shadow and persona. Tenderness feels like threat to unvisited parts. Your unguardedness rattles masks. Anima, animus. Recognition without readiness creates distance that protects the myth. Bring the inner opposite home. Projection and complexes. See the person. Bless the symbol. Act from now. Individuation. Love worth living requires capacity. Build it or bless the gap. Synchronicity. Signs are invitations to prepare, not permissions to possess. 2 yeses or release. If you remember only one line, let it be this. You're not here to be chosen. You're here to choose truth, craft, a life that can host love when love is ready. A small cinematic benediction. Picture your room tonight. The lamp is low. On the table, a blank card, a pen, a folded paper with your code of contact. Write one sentence to the self who stood in this doorway months from now. We kept faith with who we are becoming. Sign it. Place it where you'll meet it in the morning. Then do one small faithful thing. A cup rinsed, a note sent to a friend, 3 breaths at the window. Not because anyone is watching, because this is how souls weave lives that deserve the love they hope to share. If this episode steadied you, 2 next steps. Share one practice you'll begin tonight in the comments with the phrase, choosing without closure. You'll help someone who is exactly where you were at dawn. For a deeper dive, watch the companion video, Shadow Work for Attachment, How Jung Helps Heal Anxious and Avoidant Patterns. It's the practical sequel to everything we mapped here. If you want more of this rhythm, slow, honest, cinematic depth, subscribe, tap the bell, and pass this along to the friend who keeps rereading old conversations at 2 a.m. We're building a community that values reliability over spectacle, craft over chase. Leave the room a little tidier than you found it. Step outside. Feel the night remind you that silence is not empty. It's a canvas. Then come back in and live the sentence you just signed. Not later. Now. There's a specific kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It hums. It watches the room the way lightning watches the horizon, charged, holding back. You felt it with them. The long gaze that didn't blur. The almost text they never sent. The sense that something real flickered between you, and then, without insult or farewell, they stepped backward into quiet. Not rejection, not indifference. Absence with a pulse. Carl Jung would say, pay attention when the ordinary refuses to explain itself. The psyche is not a single voice, it is a parliament. Some parts vote yes, some parts stall the motion, some parts pull the fire alarm. Desire arrives, ancient and unmistakable, and the system doesn't become simpler, it becomes louder. If you have ever been wanted by someone who could not take a single step toward you, you have witnessed a referendum inside a soul. The ballot reads, reach for life, or protect the mask that has kept me safe. This hour isn't about blame, it is about sight. We will keep roughly the backbone of the classic Jungian explanation you may already sense intuitively. The shadow makes intimacy feel dangerous. The persona prefers image over truth. The anima animus constellates projection that feels like destiny and tastes like fear. Complexes hijack perception. Synchronicity arranges timing that refuses to obey our texts. And individuation, the long work of becoming whole, decides whether love is a threshold or a cliff. But we'll also deepen the map. We'll invite 3 companions to walk beside Jung. Neuroscience, to show how the autonomic nervous system reads love as either safety or threat before thought ever arrives. Contemplative practice, mindfulness/Zen/Christian and Sufi contemplations, to give you rituals that stabilize the inner weather when timing hurts. Stoicism and Tao, to teach you how to carry desire with dignity, choosing character over chasing control. First, the cinematic frame. Imagine a corridor lit by dusk. 2 doors. On one hangs a placard, Persona, the practiced self, immaculate and competent, the story they tell the world to avoid punishment and win approval. On the other door, self, unruly, honest, longing, alive. You walk down the hall and, in simply being you, you put a slight pressure on the self's handle. The door breathes. The persona hears the hinge and panics. Not now, not safe, not with them, not yet. The body tightens, the mind writes scripts. Wrong timing, too intense, they'll change their mind. The phone is set down. The message is unsent. Silence substitutes for sovereignty. Jung named the frightened gatekeeper inside everyone. The shadow. Not only the bad, but everything disowned to survive. Need, grief, tenderness, hunger for union. When your presence wakes those exiled citizens, the shadow rings the alarm. Stand down, close the blinds. The paradox is brutal. The more a connection could heal, the more it threatens the structures that allowed life without healing. So they don't reject you, they protect the past. Biology nods. Beneath language, the nervous system is running a threat assessment protocol every second. Facial micromovements, tone, pace, pauses, proximity. For a system trained by earlier hurt, the sensation of being deeply seen can register as danger, not gift. Your gaze is read as exposure, your steadiness as an invitation to collapse, your warmth as the beginning of dependency. Fight/flight/freeze/fawn don't care about philosophy. They care about survival. The body chooses distance and hires the mind to write the press release. Busy, not looking, maybe later. Add archetype to anatomy and the plot thickens. Before integration, we often meet the anima animus, our inner opposite, in the face of another person. Men project the anima feeling, relatedness, mystery onto a woman and feel summoned, then terrified. Women project the animus, clarity, structure, generative will, onto a man and feel both seen and destabilized. Recognition is not readiness. Projection is a first bridge, not a home. If they are unready, they preserve the fantasy by staying far enough away that reality cannot contradict it. Silence protects the ideal. Then come the complexes, emotional knots tied in childhood that pull today's strings. You remind them, unfairly, of the parent who left, the lover who lied, the teacher who humiliated. Even if you are the opposite, the body reacts to memory, not you. This is why your flawless behavior cannot fix their disappearance. The courtroom is inside them. You are only the accused symbol. None of this is an indictment. It is a diagnosis of timing. Jung's idea of synchronicity is often romanticized as cosmic green lights. Just as often, it is a holy yellow, a meaningful pause that says, transformation is brewing, force nothing. The soul's clock refuses ego's calendar. A connection can be real and unready at the same time. That tension is excruciating, unless you learn how to carry it. So here is the promise of this video. We will not chase anyone down a corridor they are not ready to walk. We will learn to read the map, so you stop making their silence a referendum on your worth. We will keep approximately 70% of the classic Jungian logic that makes sense of their retreat, and we will add approximately 30% new muscle. Somatic tools to regulate your system when you're tempted to beg for clarity. Myth to dignify the ache. Practice to turn waiting into growth. Stoic posture so you keep your crown on your own head. We will turn, why don't they reach out, into, how do I meet myself at the deepest level this connection revealed? 3 ground rules as we begin. 1. No villain monologues. The other person is not your project or your enemy. They are a soul learning to re-enter their own house without setting off alarms. 2. No self-erasure. Understanding psychology is not permission to accept crumbs. Insight without boundary becomes self-betrayal in a nicer outfit. 3. No spiritual bypass. Synchronicity is not an excuse to wait indefinitely. We will honor timing and practice agency. A quick kit you can keep in your pocket while we travel. 2-breath reset. When the urge to text surges, take 1 breath longer than usual on the exhale. Then name your state in 2 words. Tender, anxious. Action follows state. Regulate first. Reality line. On paper, draw a line down the middle. Left, what is in your control? Sleep, rituals, creative work, Friendships, the next honest sentence. Right, what is not. Their pace, their fear, their reply. Circle only the left. That's the Stoic move. Ritual of return. Choose one daily act that returns you to self when longing spikes. Walk without your phone. Tea by a window. Prayer beads. Breath prayer. Metta. May I be safe. May I be free. Sacred isn't theatrical.